Hello, my name is Eric Wood, and I work with NYPIRG, the New York Public Interest Research Group, where I hold a lot of different roles. I work organizing students at the SUNY New Paltz campus. I also work organizing communities throughout the Hudson Valley on all of NYPIRG's issue-based campaigns, and I also play a large role in organizing our statewide environmental protection efforts. Today's talk is going to be part of a truth series, and today we're going to focus on the truth in politics. So I have been working in NYPIRG for the past 14 years on and off, and I've also worked for several other political and not-for-profit organizations. So I've gotten a good sense on the truth in politics, or lack thereof, if you will, and that's why I want to focus on this today. So NYPIRG, although best known for our environmental work, if you ask anybody about NYPIRG, we actually started as an organization of students seeking the truth in politics back in 1973. The first piece of legislation that we focused on was called the Legislative Profiling Act. So what this does is ensure that politicians who are running for public office in New York State disclose who they are, give some kind of background, where they're from, what they do. It seems like common sense now, but it was really a breakthrough idea at the time. We continued to work on things like this. The next thing we worked on was the Freedom of Information Law, and many people know it as FOIL. And what this does is gains public the access to government documents so that we can see what is going on behind these closed doors meetings, and makes any government documents accessible to everybody, anything that's not classified anyway. And we have gained a lot of progress over the past few decades as far as this is concerned as well. However, with the recent national stage that has taken place, it has become more difficult. So there's one example that I really want to focus on today. Over the past 14 years, 29 legislators or former legislators have been convicted in New York State of felonies or misdemeanors. And of these 29 legislators, 21 of them have been sentenced to jail time or house arrest. And what they have done, for the main part, is break financial disclosure laws, deceit the public that they were catering to the deep pockets of millionaires instead of responding to the majority voter like they're supposed to. So the most famous of this, I believe, is the former Speaker of the Assembly, Sheldon Silver, and also the Senate Majority Leader, or former Senate Majority Leader, Dean Skelos. So Sheldon Silver was convicted of hiding finances that he was taking from a couple of law firms in New York City. One that was seeking tax breaks for real estate, and he received millions of dollars from these companies to cater to them instead of the public, and hid the fact that he was taking this money. He was eventually sentenced to 12 years in jail and fined $7 million. Former Senate Dean Skelos was convicted of something else, 8 charges of using his public office to pressure businesses with business to hire his son Adam to be employed for them, and also for his own personal financial benefit. He was also sentenced to jail time and fined a large sum of money. And the person that is responsible for convicting these people was the former representative of Southern New York State in the judicial branch on the U.S. level, Preet Bharara. So Preet made a name for himself in government corruption and breaking down government corruption and breaking down shady practices on Wall Street as well. However, he formerly holds this seat because he was part of the sweep that the Trump administration had conducted when they came into office, which is normal. Any president usually cleans out all of the judges as soon as they step into office. But initially, Trump chose to keep Preet on, and then leading up to the dismissal of Preet, a series of questionable actions were performed by the Trump administration. So Preet was dismissed, and then Government corruption scandals, Wall Street scandals kind of got pushed aside for things like narcotics control once Attorney General Jeff Sessions took over this whole branch of government. So we really need to make sure that we are holding all politicians accountable on the local level, the state level, and especially on the national level now. I mean, don't get me wrong, this isn't just a national level Trump administration thing. We have a lot that we can do here in New York State. Governor Cuomo ran on the platform in 2010 on government reform and on good government. But we've seen very little happen in that area since he has become governor. So we need to make sure that he is following through and coming through these promises that he has made. Over the past year, he's made a couple of great ideas, a couple of great suggestions, if you will, regarding this. He's talking about making the legislature full-time, putting term limits on the legislature, and not letting them have any outside income. And these are all great steps, but we need to make sure that we're holding the governor accountable on these things and make sure that he follows through with them, because he hasn't yet. You know, here in New York State, we need some serious overhaul and oversight in the lobbying industry. We need campaign finance reform, and we need ethics reform. Lobby limits, you know. We need for New York's campaign finance right now, of any state that has limits, we have the highest limits in the country. So that's something that needs to be addressed. Next, we need some serious oversight in the overhaul of the lobbying industry altogether. You know, our lobbying laws state that if you're going to give $5,000 or more, that you have to disclose it. You know, if you're going to try to sway a vote or something in any local municipalities. So that needs to be changed because it only caters to towns that are 5,000 people or more. And so if you're going to try to sway a vote, you need to be held accountable, period. It doesn't matter how many people live there. And then last, we need ethics reform. We just need to follow the U.S. model of ethics reform and say that if people aren't, you know, if people are taking money from outside bodies, then they shouldn't, you know. They should do their job in office, and that is that. And we as the public need to hold them accountable, and by that, we need to get out, we need to vote, or we need to take part in civic engagement and make sure that these elected officials are being held accountable so that we can see the real truth in politics.